Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This being a show where I talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about OnePunch-Man Season 1, Episode 7. Great episode. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. So, we have a meteor making its way towards Earth, specifically to City Z. And obviously the S-class heroes are gathered at the headquarters in Z City. And only two people show up, Genos and another guy, Bang, who's like the third ranked. And he brings up something really interesting, and that kind of shows you like the mindset of the organization. I mean, it gets split three ways. He's like, the reason why some people didn't make it here, because as we know, there's only 17 of them, some people didn't make it here because either it's just too far to go, they're busy, or they just chose not to show up. He even says like some of the heroes are cold-blooded and just don't care. When we meet one of them, was it Bafoy or something like that? His code name is Metal Knight, which I thought was so interesting. I never thought about the fact is like what they come. I mean, it makes sense. Like any traditional superhero thing is like, yo, don't call me by my real name. Call me by my like superhero name. But it makes sense. Like Genos and Saitama don't have superhero names yet. They're still at the point of having like just going by their names because Genos calls them by his name. He's like, whoa, no, I'm Metal Knight. You don't call someone by their regular name. You call them by the superhero name. But and I thought it was also interesting too. Like the fact is that they waited so long to kind of like contact. I guess like maybe it was speeding through so fast. But like the fact is, it's like, oh, it's going to hit here in 35 minutes, and then they gave everyone a warning. So like, why wait so long to get? Because I guess they were hoping that some Z rankers would get there in time to balance it out. But I guess like, well, they saw like, oh, no one is, so they did like send out an evacuation notice. But I'm like, why not send that out earlier just to be preemptive? Because I'm like, I mean, even then, because like I said, Bang said like, oh, it's going to land in like 35 minutes, and then at the 30-minute mark is when they made the announcement, and everyone had to kind of like bail. I mean, we don't know like how, even though like big time stuff has been happening for a while in this world, and in the more recent years has gotten worse. Like we don't know what like the mass like exodus strategy is, because we see in like Kaiju number 8 they have evacuation zones and stuff like that. It doesn't seem like anything like that exists in this universe, or at least not that I'm aware. Maybe specifically not in this city, but yeah, like the only S-class people here is these two, and it's like, well, Bong's planning on staying because he's like, yeah, my family's dojo, which has been passed down for generation to generation, is here. So he's like a captain, like, I'm gonna go down with the ship. Like, there's nothing that can be done. And obviously for Genos, it's like, I gotta protect this city because this is kind of my home, and my master lives here too, so I want to do the best I can. So he pulls out like his upgraded arms, but before he could even fire on it, the Metal Knight gets there, and instead of like, hey, let's cooperate together and destroy this thing, what ends up happening is the Metal Knight's like, no, I'm actually safe where I am. This is me testing out this new drone. I just want to see what it's capable of. And it's like, we could be working together, but you're not helping me because you're a selfish prick in this moment. So he fires off some powerful missiles, but they don't break through. And so it's up to Genos to like, because he was going to fire too, but he's like, the missiles are there. I don't want to cause a problem where like his missiles might actually hit the right marks, and maybe me firing and potentially hitting the missiles will set them off early before they're able to do what they do. I don't want to end up causing more problems. So afterwards, it's like, all right, we got less and less time. So he powers up, but the entire time he's powering up, he's thinking like, we've only got like seconds to impact. And then he's feeling bad because he's like, but what if I hit this thing and I'm not powerful enough? And what if I do shatter the meteor? But Bong shows up and he's like, yo, you're overthinking things. Put your all into it. Don't forget about the consequences and stuff like that. And for him, it's like, right, in this moment, like, I want to hit this thing with everything I've got. Like, I just want to try to do my best. I'm not going to get caught up in the what ifs about what this can be. So he removes his core from his chest, injects it, puts it into his arm, and hits this thing with everything he's got. And I love Bong's like, oh my God, I think you're pushing it back a little bit. He's like, for real? And he's like, actually, no, I think it's my imagination. He's like, you fool, like, don't do that. But even Genos wasn't enough to stop it. and he's worn out from this whole situation. And then here comes Saitama strutting in, super jumps up there, and he's like, yo, you're not gonna fall on my home, and bust it. Granted, it doesn't have the same success rate as like a, spoilers, Kafka situation in Kaiju number 8, which is the better outcome. I mean, even that still dealt with the shockwave, but because of what it was, that was like a bomb versus a meteor. This meteor, Saitama busts through and destroys it completely. Well, not completely, because exactly what Genos was worried about happens. And I think that's like the dark, humorous point of it is like, oh, like you thought like Saitama would completely obliterate this thing, and it's like, he did for the most part, but the debris fell and lands on the city. It's still better because the entire city would have been destroyed, but a large chunk of the city did still get massively damaged because of it. But it's like, Saitama wasn't thinking about that. He was just kind of like, hey, I'm destroying this thing before it destroys my home. That's all there is to it. And it's like, you have to be considerate of the collateral damage, but it's also like, I did the best I could. Argument could also be thrown against the other heroes. Like, obviously, like, Bong is not in a position, like, he's more, seems like a martial arts fighter, so there's probably not enough of time of him, like, he probably can't zip around the city and destroy any of those meteors before they land. Who knows if Metal Knight was even there? Like, the moment he was done, he probably bailed, and who knows if he had any other, like, we didn't see him after his attempt, so he might have bailed immediately or just like left his robot there and just like disconnected. Like, oh, I got the results I wanted. It is what it is. And Saitama can't fly. He would have had to speed run around the entire city and jump up, and like that's just not probable. So it's like, cool. Like, everything ends up catching. And that, like I said, I just think in a dark, humorous way, like it being like, oh, the city still gets destroyed, but not as destroyed as before. You know, it's just kind of like the sad collateral damage of like, at the end of the day, Saitama did the best he could when he was like the only one who could really well, he didn't make a dent. He made a full-blown explosion out of the impact from hitting the meteor, but still. After the situation, they are rewarded because Genos moves up one spot. He moves up to 16, and Saitama goes from, what was it, 342 to number 5. And he's like, Jesus Christ, like that leap. It's like, well, yeah, because we find out the ranking systems of like things. What is it? A tiger, something, a dragon, and a god. I can't remember the second tier one, or was it something below and then tiger? But definitely dragon's the second highest, and then god tier, because god tier is like human extinction level threat. So kind of knowing like the barometers of like what the threats fall into place, and that also informs heroes of what they should and shouldn't get involved in. But Saitama was like, I don't care. Like, being a hero just means stepping in. Like, what kind of hero backs away from any danger? So, like I said, it's moments like this where it's just like, yeah, there's your mob. But like I said, there's other little moments where he's like Reagan personality wise, but he's not as completely morally bankrupt as Reagan could be like 85% of the time. Because there is some there is genuineness to his heroism that, yeah, he, it's like, oh, cool, I'd love a little attention. I'd like to be kind of, but once again, he also never got too butthurt about being seen. It's like, well, I'm able to be at least a little recognized, but it's like, it's kind of nice to be like, hey, like, I do some stuff, because being recognized as a hero prevents people from constantly recognizing him as a villain when he's not one. So that's another reason why he likes the attention, because he likes the more positive attention than the negative one, but he doesn't let it drive and consume him. He's not like, he can be a little caught up in it, but he doesn't let it consume him, And Genos already knows that, like, people are already blaming him, like, because even the Hero Association isn't really bigging him up for this, because it seems like him and Metal Knight, because even Metal Knight went from 7 to 6 because of this as well. They ended up getting some recognition for this, even though it was entirely Saitama who did this situation. But like, because like he knows, like, right, people are blaming him, like, because of the destruction of the city. But it's like and so for him, it's like, I'd rather not tell my master about it, because I don't want to bog his mind down with that stuff. So I forgot what motivated it, but like Saitama decides to go out on his own. But he's like, oh, you stay here, Genos, because if you come along with me, you're just going to steal more credit from me. But he goes into town and he sees how wrecked it is. And he sees like, huh, my favorite supermarket that I go to is gone. But then he also looks, he's like, huh, the apartment building I got kicked out of is perfectly fine. Damn it. And you know that's the sucky thing. Those places are right next to each other too. So it's like, I mean, not just from Saitama's perspective, but the people who own that supermarket or work there are like, why is it? No, we're literally right beside you and your building's perfectly fine. Not like a little damage. No, it's perfectly fine. And our shit got pushed in by these meteors fragments. So then we had, what was it? Tank Top Tiger show up because word has gotten around because of how quickly up the ranks Saitama jumped. And him and his brother, Tank Top Black Hole, think it's complete and utter BS. It's like, you must have cheated, yada, yada, yada. And being the jealous pricks that they are, his brother Black Hole decides, hey, I'm going to shit on Saitama and make him out to be the big guy. Like, oh, the bad guy. Oh my God, you're the one that caused the meteor shower, huh? Yada, yada, yada. Trying to get the mob around him. And obviously these people are hurt, homeless, damaged property. They've lost a lot. They need someone to blame. And now being presented this boogeyman, they jump at it. Because their thing is like, oh, what we're going to do is we're going to tear down your spirit. And they're giddy about it. This is purely because they're jealous. And Bong is nearby. He has this really interesting perspective where he kind of wants Saitama just to quit. Because he's like, you are the strongest person I've ever met. And he almost feels like being a part of the Hero Association will be a hindrance. It'll basically kind of stifle him in all intents and purposes. And he also talks about Black Hole, like, he's like, this is why you can't rise above even a B, is because of like your greed and personality. Like, you can't just accept things as they are. Like, you can't have someone pop up out of nowhere who hasn't been a hero nearly as long as you, shoot up the C ranks as much as possible. Like, you rather destroy them rather than big them up. You know, and that's the whole thing of there are people who exist, who enjoy, who love to tear people down. And like, they're getting giddy off of it. The crowd is chanting about, you know, give it up, being a hero, give it up, give it up, give it up, over and over and over again. Chastise him. And even Genos sees like chatter about the hero that's catching strays for this. It's like, oh, was it a C-class hero who was in the blame for this? And so Genos goes out to check on Saitama, and he catches this whole situation. And so the brothers want to make a point, like, initially, we're not going to just hurt you because we'll tear you down a different way. But now we're here to make a point. Yeah, we're going to, like, put you in your place, especially because they have the entire crowd on their side. Like, the crowd hates Saitama, so now when you take him down, it'll bolster your profile even more. And obviously, without hesitation, like, it purely in self-defense, Saitama takes down Tank Top Tiger, and then when it comes to Black Hole, Tank Top Black Hole, he just grabs his hand. He's like, ow, 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 you're hurting me, I'm sorry. He's like, all right, I'm sorry that I lied. And Saitama's like, no, you didn't lie. I am the one that dealt with the meteor. So what? And he looks around. It's like, anyone else got a problem with it? The guy's like, well, what about my car? He's like, shut up. You can shut up. And he yells at all of them. It's like, you want to complain about what I did? You want to say I did it for this and that? He's like, I'm a hero. That's all I did. Like, I'm not doing it for intention. I'm doing it because I want to. You can, like, you want to blame me, blame the meteor. I'm not the one that brought it to Earth. I'm the reason why this city's still standing in the first place. You want to hate me? Fine. Do whatever you want. But, like, don't try and take, like, that's on you to try and take it out on me. Like, I'm not the reason why stuff keeps happening. Like, I'm just living my life, and I'm doing the heroic thing because I want to. And Genos is there being like, come on, master, let's go home. Because for him, it's like, you shouldn't, like, it's what he wanted to protect his master from, but also it's like he's hearing that from his master, and it's like, you know what, I see the good in you, and even if people don't recognize it, he says it later on, I will continue to follow you. Saitama's takeaway is like, damn it, now I got that guy's face stuck in, because he didn't remember, what's his face, Tank Top Tiger from last episode. I think it's probably specifically Black Hole because he was the one running his mouth the most. He's probably stuck with Black Hole's name, like face, you know, stuck in his memories now because of it. I don't know if it was the monsters we see at the end of the episode, which are going to be the threat for the next episode, or whether it's just people in town saying, or maybe it's other heroes gossiping about like, oh, was it really a C-class hero that stopped the meteor? It's like, oh, to make yourself feel better, so you're beating up other lower level C-class. I'm like, that's why I'm like, I don't know if that was in reference to the brothers, or was that them being like Saitama's beating them up? Is that, or were they talking about those brothers beating up someone weaker, claiming Saitama? I think it was the other way around. They wouldn't give any praise to Saitama because no one believes it. They just think it's a rumor. But like I said, I don't know if that's the monsters, that the sea monsters that are going to be the threat next episode we're talking, or whether that's just people in town. I mean, we also saw like there's monsters and humans gossiping, like based on episode 6, gossiping about like the ghost city and stuff like that. So whatever the case may be, it showed you a very ugly side of the association. I mean, it's not like we've seen like a great good side to it. It's just been a very good to neutral side. This was kind of like the very, very ugly side of it we've seen, especially like the higher ranked heroes, where it's just like, yeah, some people, I mean, like I said, a lot of them could have just been busy or they couldn't get there in time. But there's also the element of some don't care, and they're also not going to get involved because there's no guarantee that they'd be able to like help with the situation, and they know that would just hurt their reputation in the end. So that's kind of sadly what matters most for some people. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where all this ends up taking us going forward into the next episode. But really, that's all I wanted to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.